Right, so this is the next video in the series of videos on consonant analyses. In the last video I discussed how everything came to be, and I was going to go on and talk about how that fits with consonant analysis. So I'm going to touch on that subject towards the end of this short presentation. So some points just to recap. So the first point is these are all points from like the previous video. So the first thing, the matter came into existence from a unitary point. The second point is that it must be continually differentiated to exist. The third point is that it is determinate, so therefore it must be being moved by that which is indeterminate, because if it's determinate, then determinate can't move determinate. The other point, the next point, is that nothing can move faster than itself, and nothing can move beyond itself, so something must be moving everything. Remember, I used the Rubik's Cube to explain that if something is moving, it can't move beyond itself. It can't move, it can only move at the speed it's moving as it is. And if it's standing still and everything is the same, nothing can move faster than itself, then something must be moving everything. The next point is the only thing which is indeterminate is absolute. Yeah, for something to be indeterminate, it must be absolute. That's the only thing that can be indeterminate. And there's a video I've posted, you'll find that elsewhere in my videos, about things being infinite and how people equate that with things being absolute. You know, something is absolute, all you can say about it is absolute. You literally cannot describe it in any other way, shape or form than that. Whereas if something is infinite, what you can say about it is it's got a beginning in time. Like, for example, people say an infinite range of numbers. Well, you can say it starts with a 1, say, for example, and it just carries on and carries on and carries on, yeah. But it's not absolute, because it's got something you can say about it. You can say where it started, whereas absolute, it's just absolute, that's it. And there's only one thing that's absolute, and we know what that is. It's the Lord God Almighty. The next point is that sound, going on to consonant analysis now. Now, consonant analysis is sound. It's actually movement of air, yeah? So sound is movement of matter. Consonant analysis is an indication. It's an indication, but as far as I'm concerned, it's proof. But obviously I'll leave that to you as an objective observer, and somebody who's hopefully going to use consonant analysis themselves in your research work. So I've put consonant analysis as an indication that the original point of existence consisted of 28 variants, which when differentiated on a given ratio until infinity account for the universe and life on Earth as we see it, and are represented by the 28 letters of the Arabic alphabet. Now, when we're talking about light, Einstein would have called it energy. So I just prefer the term light, you know. So like, for example, you know, this, I would say that this is made of hard light. Yeah, it's basically a differentiation of that original unitary point to such a degree that it's what I call physical. I can physically hold it, whereas what's in this room, you know, in terms of what's coming from a light source, is what we call soft light. And there's even light finer than that, I believe, yeah. So there's things that we can't see, like if you look at my playlist on I answer questions about Islam, we talk about angels and jinn, and these are creatures that we can't see, so they're made of more refined light that's beyond our perceptions. So there's different types of light, and when you make light hard enough, I mean, you know, anyway, with like lasers and things like that, you know, you can use pulse lasers to actually burn holes in things, you know. So you can get something which is so solid, it's so condensed that it becomes what we call solid. But as we know, really, when you go down to the atomic level, there's just like lots of space and very small nuclei making everything work. So with regards to consonants, it's just sound. Get away from the idea of like words on a page. Those are just graphemes, we call them, or representations of the sounds, but they're not the actual sounds themselves. Which is why when I do consonant analyses, it's very important for me to know, to actually hear, to be able to hear the way the words are spoken, or if I can't do that, to know what region of the world the person actually comes, the producer or the source of that particular recorded speech in writing comes from. Do they come from Scotland? Do they come from America? Do they come from England? Do they come from London? Is it the Queen? Is it Queen's English? It's vitally important, because what I'm interested in is actually the movement of sound, the differentiation of sound. So yeah, that's just an addendum, a little bit further on from what I've talked about in my previous video, which was a bit more rambly because I just wanted to get out there and do it off the top of my head. And as is the case with any of these videos, if you have if you have any issues, things you don't understand, please do, post a question, and I'll try to answer. Because the thing for me as an inventor is, I know how to do things instinctively myself, and I know all the different pieces and how they work, and I just it's intuitive. But the thing is to actually explain that to somebody when I've never had to do that before, and it's for the first time, it can be a bit difficult. And I think that's what I encountered in the first video. It was trying to put everything together in a narrative which flowed nicely, and I think I've managed that this time around. So yeah, I hope you found this video useful, the material useful to augment your learning. And obviously the next video now will just like go on to consonant analysis, because I think I've covered the theory now of how it actually, why it should actually work, and how that ties into everything that's happening around us, everything in the universe. Thank you.